Hey guys, welcome to a new video. This time it's going to be my personal preference all-rounder passive tree for free mode 2560. So your typical difficulty setup. Now obviously with the addition of New Game Plus, but so that's the basic gist of it. If you just wanna copy it, there you go. To talk about it, first of all, one slight in optimization for boss fights, I always take collateral damage in continuous assault because I am simply too lazy to respec it. As such, these are always taken, and with your character setup 59 strength, 35 intelligence, you are so incredibly strong, you do not need to invest those points into something else. As such, first of all, you have damage right here, a lot of damage, 59 points of strength. That's almost 90% increased damage from this singular node. Like strong arm is insane. And then you have for bigger fights, AoE fights, these two nodes, collateral damage, continuous assault, very big quality of life, splash damage, and another action after killing an enemy feels way too good to pass up. And since, as mentioned, I'm lazy, I'm not respeccing out of it. Then you have in the Thunder Tree the most important single node, calculated strike at the end, 8% damage per point of strength above the enemy. Now with New Game Plus and everything, most boss characters have roughly 20 strength. So let's just say they have 19 strength, that's 320% increased damage. So if you initially dealt 1000 damage, now you do 4200, such an insane node. Then we also take the mighty node, crit damage increased by 30%. Just look at my crit chance, 86%. Then you can further boost it with stuff like the meat kebab, the blood jewel. You can reach very high percentage crit chance, so you can almost always take advantage of this. We actually skip mark target as enemies die too quickly before it can even rank up, and this is just because we need to take it. Then Wind Tree, we take almost all the action speed we can get, the exception being this one small node as we do not have enough points, but it's more action points at the start of battle, and then like action speed, action speed, action speed, and action speed. And then lastly, the more bizarre thing, I'd say, is Mountain. And now it depends on your specific build. For example, this is a class cannon, high strength, low constitution. If I were to go for a more mixed approach, I would skip those three top nodes and instead take these three. But the basic idea is, first of all, a pathing node we need to take, and also good 1.5% damage reduction per point of constitution. On this character alone, it's 18% damage reduction. If you then factor in a higher con build, you're looking at roughly 30 constitution in those. That's 45% damage reduction, maybe even 50% with a bit more investment. Then this node we have to take for pathing, not that good. Now this node is quite cool, unmovable. What it does is, if you do not move before attacking, you get 30% increased damage. Now it would also, like the damage effect would increase the more dexterity your enemy has more than you. So TLDR, if you have like 1 or 2 dexterity, you would deal even more damage. We do need high dexterity for good action speed, so we can ignore it. But the basic idea is, if I start combat, if I were to attack now, I would get 30% damage. If I, on the other hand, were to move first, then use my move, I don't get the 30% damage. And here's a very cool thing with the God of Gambling trait, which gives you another action after using a throwable you can abuse. What you can first do is you move somewhere, so you don't get the additional damage, use your throwable. Now you get an additional action due to God of Gambling, and now you use your move. And now, because prior to using that move, you did not move, you get the 30% damage. So you can essentially guaranteed get the 30% damage. It's very easy to work around it. Once you get used to it, this is simply 30% more damage, very solid. And then Wall of Steel we take for the class cannon builds to not be that frail. As you can read, receive no damage when you are hit for the first time in battle. Can be quite nice. For tankier builds, higher constitution builds, we take armor buildup, which gives you stacking damage resistance. With the mixed approach, like Jack of all trade builds, you're not guaranteed to one-hit all enemies, but on the other hand, no enemy can ever one-hit you. And with this you can just become almost invincible. And that's my general passive tree setup I always go for on those builds. As you can notice, compared to a beginner build, we do not take forest damage transfer. It simply requires too many points and I would lose damage, and losing damage is not good. Then we do not need a yin node because we have immunity to everything, immunity to internal injury, bleeding, poison and seal. All that internal injury immunity can be skipped depending on the build. But that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next time. Bye bye.